Good afternoon. Welcome to Pizzy Park here on the Gold Coast for Rugby League Gold Coast Grand Final action. As you can see there, absolute peach of a surface out there, beckoning for three big games of footy here today for the 2019 deciders in the Rugby League Gold Coast competition. Dwayne Neville, your caller for the first two matches. Of course, the main event here is, the A-grade Grand Final between the Burleigh Bears and Southport Tigers. Preceding that one, we have the Doug Lip Cup between the Tugun Seahawks and the Mudrip Redbacks. And in just a little bit, we'll, of course, kick off action here for the under-20s action between the Burleigh Bears and the Currumbin Eagles. As we wait both teams to come out in the field, let's give you the tail tape between the two teams for the Burleigh Bears. Our fullback is Latrell Hall, and in the backline we have Tim Chris, O'Shea Hanaway, and Joshua Somerville. And pairing the backline is Joe Tusua. In the halves, we have Tyrese Walker, Tyrone O'Leary. And in the front row, we have Tane Tuhaka, Brock Hughes, and Chase Lang. In the second row, we have Ramon Whippy and Jock Sullivan. Locking the scrum is James Tuhaka. On the bench, we have Jaron Evans, Zane Rubik, Burke, Tyler Crown, Tyron Owen Murphy, Tyler Kent, and Cassius Levenek. For the Currumbin Eagles, we have Liam Weatherly in the back line with Lachlan Dulloway, Dejan Gibson, Ben Kebby, and Josh Walker. In the halves, we have Will Ramsey, Bryce Kennedy. And in the front row, we have Jack Lucas, Mitch Rosenthal, and William Malone. And in the second row, we have Bodie Burt and Dan Thomas. Locking the scrum is former Coogin Eagle, Brock Stiles. And on the bench, we have Cole Geyer, Thomas Norfolk, Caleb Kebby, and Tian Russell Rasuke. Absolute peach of a day. We did have a bit of rain in the early hours in the AM, but as of now, it's just all gone out to sea. It's an absolute crisp day. What a big day of footy. Of course, being pushed to a Saturday. Normally, the Rugby League Gold Coast features on a Sunday, but that's to be made way. Of course, we have Intrust Super Cup action here at this ground tomorrow between the Burleigh Bears and the Sunshine Coast Falcons. As you can see there, the hooter in the background to signal the players to come onto the field. Shortly, I will be joined by Currumbin Eagles trainer Aaron Whitaker. He'll be joining me on the call for the first game. Burleigh Bears, of course, they finished their season in third place with a 10-10 record, with a differential of 71 points. Their last start was, of course, against today's opposition, the Currumbin Eagles, getting up 20-14 in the second week of the finals. Previous to that, they won against the Mudrip Redbacks 30-24 in week one. The player to watch for today is Latrell Howell. He is their top try scorer with 16 tries for the campaign. Their top point scorer is Jared Walkins with 124, though he hasn't played since July 20. And I believe he's not playing today either. They've won 4 of their last 5 with a 5-4 record. As you can hear their wolf mother in the background here. That means that we're about to get things underway very shortly. And of course, you're seeing this on Bar TV. So looking a bit of head-to-head in this one. So they've played a few times already this season, the Burleigh Bears and the Currumbin Eagles. As I made mention, 20-14 Burleigh getting it over. But though you look at the last time these teams played, Currumbin getting up 44-26, 52-28, 28-12 on 2 occasions, and 29-24. So Currumbin have had the rub of the green between these two teams. Though it all matters for very little on grand final day, as we'll find out in the next 70 minutes who will take home the title. So for the Currumbin Eagles, they finished off as the minor premiers with a 16-4 record, with 52 points in their skyrocket, with a differential 279 points. Their last win was against Runaway Bay last week, 20-6. They had not lost that on their home patch all season, though, the Currumbin Eagles. Their player to watch is Lachlan Dalloway. He's the top try scorer, and not just for the Currumbin Eagles, as we can see the Burleigh Bears come out onto the paddock. As I was just about to mention, Lachlan Dalloway is their top try scorer with 21 tries. And he's also the first he's the top try scorer overall in the competition. So as the Currumbin Eagles now come onto the paddock, their form has been a little bit patchy coming into this one. Whilst they got the job done against Runaway Bay a week ago, they've only won 2 from their last 6 coming into this one. Prior to that, they've won 15 from 16, including 8 of those straight. Their only sole loss in that was only 2 points against Runaway Bay, which was a 26-24 defeat. So as we now get ready for action for what will promise to be a big day of football here at the real home of the Rugby League Gold Coast, Pizzey Park. Burleigh Bears, I'll be running right to left on your screen. And as the referee then signals time. And we're underway for the first game on grand final day here in Rugby League Gold Coast action in the under-20s competition. So that's a nice tackle there. That's taken there about 25 metres away from the Currumbin Eagles line on the first phase of play. They get it into the hand. Oh, nice big hit around the sternum area from the Burleigh Bears. So they're now just 30 metres out from the Currumbin Eagles line. So both teams will be looking for a fast start. There's a lot in this under-20s competition. Both teams know to get some high scores. So that's taken there 40 metres out. That's played there from Rosenthal, playing on the short side. He's going to be brought down there 40 metres in 10 inside field. So Burleigh's defence is holding up well thus far. So this is going to be taken up the kick. There's not really much of a breeze to speak of. And that's going to be taken up there by Latrell Howe. He'll go for a gallop, and he's going to be met there in the tackle there from Dan Thomas. Player to look out here for the Currumbin Eagles as well is, as I made mention, he was an ex-Coogin Hornet, Brock Stiles. I've covered a few of his games in Country Rugby League Championship when he played for the Northern Rivers under 18s. And last year, last year as well, he featured for the Coogin Hornets in the final series in the under 18s. And I recall he knows how to do a big jump, Brock Stiles. He jumped over about 2 players to make a line break. I think it was against the Tweed Coast Raiders. So he's a player to look for, number 13 for the Currumbin Eagles. Yeah. So now I'm going to be joined there by Aaron Whittaker. He's just come up into the box. Aaron, pleasure to join you on the call today, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much. Pleasure being here on this great day out at Burleigh.
And just as I was saying that, you would have overheard me giving Brock Stiles a big rap when he was playing for the Coogin Hornets. He can do a bit. Does he train like doing big jumps up in training? Because I remember like calling one of his games last year, and he did the jump about 10 metres off the ground.
I think it might have been just spur of the moment. But, no, he's this year he's just improved out of sight. Unfortunately, he couldn't play for us last week. He was crook as.
I noticed that he wasn't featuring on their prelim lineup either.
Yeah. So, lucky the boys got through against Runaway Bay last week for Brocky, and he's out there today. So
yeah, so that was a 20-16 win last week as as I may mention, you guys finished minor premiers as well. You had a little. I said there at the start, you won about 2 out of the last 6, but then you won about pretty much most of them straight 15 out of 16.
Yeah.
About that. As I just say that's Latrell Howe. He's going to be put there in his own dead ball line. And just a little palm to the head just for his trouble. So it's going to be a line dropout now for the Burleigh Bears. Sorry, Aaron.
No, not a problem. They were minor premiers pretty early, but I think that could have had a little bit to do with their mindset.
Absolutely.
Losing those, a few of the back end games, but then Matty Guy sort of got them back on track, especially when it counted coming into the semis. But just with regards to.
Oh, geez. So just off the line dropout, he just went for a little soccer tap and handed it right back as a gift to the Burleigh Bears, and they'll have this second phase 40 out from their own line. So this is going to be Brock Hughes. He brings that into the hands. That's Whippy. He's going to be brought down 45 metres away from the Bears line. So they've got options either side the Bears. So this is going to be Brock Hughes from dummy half, and referee's going to summons him back to the dummy half position. So this will be now Hughes plays it. That's gone into Harker. He brings that 45 away from the Currumbin Eagles line. It's Hughes from dummy half. Nice run up the centre there. And he marches out one another further 10. That's going to be 30 out from the Eagles line. They go. I thought he was going to go for a short time play there. And he's just brought down there 30 metres out. So this is the fifth and last. So Brock Hughes, he'll get that into the hands. That's going into Walker. And he's just a little bit of a late hit for me, but the referee's going to allow it to play on. Bats that backwards. Hands that back, and that's gone into Harker. But the referee there's called a slight knock on. So restart for the Eagles about 20 metres out from their own line.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shame there, especially with Currumbin hot on attack, getting a back-to-back set, but then unfortunately Will J just trying to trap it forward and went into the Burleigh player. So, yeah, they would have liked to have built a bit of pressure there, but they did well. They've defended that set, and now they've got to take it out from their own red zone.
So this is to Harker, big monstering tackle, and the referee is going to call a penalty for offside.
Stripping.
Oh, stripping penalty. And so Currumbin Eagles, I'll see some valuable field position off this kick. As I made mention, not really much of a breeze to speak of, but we did have a thing called rain coming about 7 a.m. this morning as I was waking up. Who would have thought in the month of September there, Aaron?
I actually work for Jim's Mowing, mate, so I want the rain.
Yeah, well, you look at the surface here. It's an absolute peach, nice flat surface, but it's looking a little bit on the brown side, so everyone needs a bit of rain. So hopefully we get a bit more than what we had this morning. So that's taken up there. That's the man. I think that's Brock Stiles there, who I just spoke of. So that's going into that. Oh, nice passing there from the Eagles. They're getting him through as many hands as they can early, but he's going to be met there in the tackle by Chase Lang.
Like you mentioned, Dwayne, like not much of a breeze, but if you have a look at those flags in the background there, sort of coming into this right-hand corner.
Yeah, so where we basically are, if you're not familiar with the Gold Coast, we're about a K or two away from the Esplanade out at Burleigh, Miami. So probably a little bit of a sea breeze. So as I just mentioned, that well picked up there by the Burleigh Bears. Oh, he only had the one player on his left side to beat. And the referees deemed that to be a penalty, so they'll get some extra metres out of this, the Burleigh Bears.
Yeah, just a bit of a loose carry there, and Burleigh pounced on the ball, and now they've got some good field position. So
the Currumbin Eagles, as I made mention at the start, just as you're coming up in the box here, Aaron, that in this under-20s competition, and what through my experience covering NRRL each week with the under-18s, there's lots of, it's like basketball scores every week for both teams. So with your guys, you guys have only failed to score 22 or more, twice this year, so that's absolutely impressive.
Yeah, they've got great attack, and their defence is not too bad as well. You sort of build pressure from your defence, and your attack sort of falls into play. But so
that's the Harker, who looks for a little hit and spin, manages to get it 10 metres away from the Currumbin Eagles line. So this will be the third play. They've gone into the short side. They're playing that up the centre there, the Burleigh Bears. So they've got big contingent on their left side. They kick that across the carpet. Oh, he was aiming for that goalpost, but he's going to be well read there. So there's Latrell Howell, he was going to have to do well to tackle him. Oh, and the nice tackle from the backside there for the Burleigh Bears. And the referee deemed that to be, I think he's called that for an offside.
No, I think there was, from the play the ball there, was sort of infringing on the space of the guy wanting to play the ball quickly, so I think.
So the Burleigh Bears, they've scored 28 or more 10 times this year, have scored 40 or more on 6 occasions. So you can just see here in the first matter of minutes, a lot of intensity in this opening match on grand final day for Rugby League Gold Coast. This is Mitch Rosenthal, plays it from dummy half. Gets it in, that's gone into, that was Will Ramsey. They've got it through many hands on the early stages here. Currumbin Eagles, so they're just about 25 metres away from the Burleigh Bears line. So they're bringing that now centre of field. That's good tackle there from Brock Hughes. And so this will be now the third phase. They go short side. It goes for a kick there. They like it. Oh, the chasers, they weren't really running up as fast as they would have liked, but well read there off the kick there from Latrell Howe. And he'll have this 10 metres out. That's played there from dummy half from O'Leary. And big tackle there from Brock Stiles. So that's played from dummy half from Brock Hughes. And they bring that now about just off the 20-metre line for the Burleigh Bears. They go the short side. Nice run up the centre there. That's Ramon Whippy. And it's 35 metres away from the Burleigh Bears line. Oh, nice tackle there. That's Lachlan Dulloway. Good legs, tackle around the hips. Fifth and last. They've done well to keep the Bears inside their own half of field. That sends up downtown, and it'll find touch about 20 metres away from the Currumbin Eagles line.
Yeah, it's a good bit of footy at the moment, that back and forth, putting pressure on each other, and that's it. It's just one of those games where it's going to be a game of chess where they complete their sets, put the pressure on. The team that cracks first is, that's going to be maybe detriment to either side. So, matter of just putting that pressure, keep completing the sets, and hopefully get a few back-to-backs.
And I was making mention how we normally see basketball scores in the younger grades and the seniors. Here's one for you. Burleigh Bears have only held a single-digit defensive record only once this year, and you have to go back all the way to the very start at round one when they did that, when they beat Runaway Bay 70 points to 4. So we're expecting big points from both teams today. So Currumbin Eagles now, they'll have this 30 metres away from their own line. Burleigh Bears there, they move up in one line in defence.
I think you may find, Dwayne, that with the big scores throughout the year, this is the game that they all want to play, and every team wants to be in. The big dance at the end of the year. So this is a grand final, so I think it'll be a low-scoring game.
Okay.
My thought process is with the change of the date being from Sunday to Saturday, the only downside for the Eagles is one less day of preparation.
Six-day turnaround, yeah.
So hopefully that doesn't come to hinder them sort of at the back end of the second half. So they are a pretty fit side, and so too is Burleigh. So I'm looking for a good close contest.
And Aaron, you make a good point when you say that certainly could be a case, and certainly in the Currumbin Eagles case, that the Currumbin Eagles, for me, they've held teams to either 12 or less, so 2 converted tries 5 times this year. So more or less, they've certainly got the defensive prowess to make that happen. And I mean, neither team so far is not giving an inch.
No, and that's right. And you got assistant coach Peter Upton, and obviously the quality coaching of Matty Guy. Who's been through the Storm system, and and he pretty much teaches us what they've been taught, and he's given it back to the boys, and they're
so the referee
playing really well.
So the referees deemed that to be an offside off the kick there from the Burleigh Bears. So the Currumbin Eagles will send this one downtown, and that will find that about just shy of the halfway line. So it'll be interesting to see who can draw first blood between these two teams.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the wind that we were talking about plays a part. There could be a 40-20 coming up at some stage.
Absolutely.
Just into this right-hand corner. So,
I was covering that first game out at Tugun. Was Tugun Runaway Bay in the A grade, and Sam Meskel went for a kick. As we could see there, the referee deemed that to be a knock-on. Sam Meskel had a kick right in front of the sticks, and obviously, Currumbin being close to Tugun, you'd know all about the A320's flying over the head, where it's basically next door to Goldie Airport. And I think there was a big Emirates plane or something flying right over the head, because it was actually about 40, 50 kilometre winds, and he went for a kick straight in front, and he normally safe as a house, safe as a bank kicking him, and he kicked one right in front, and basically just as he went over, the big 40 kilometre sea breeze just battered it away. And it was a close game too, 26-24, So this will be now played from the Burleigh Bears, 5 metres away from halfway. This will be Tyrone O'Leary to play it. Off the back of the scrum from Brock Hughes. And then off the first phase there, just brought there 45 metres away from the Currumbin Eagles line. This is Hughes from dummy half. They'll get it for the little cutout pass, and nice big tackle there from the Currumbin Eagles. They're just inside 40 now on the third phase of play. Nice run up there, just hold the 30 metres out. Now you can just see now, you probably can't see it on your screen here, but the Burleigh Bears have a big attacking play They're going to opt it, and that's going to be going into the hands of James. That's James to Harker. 20 metres out. That's Brock Hughes go for a little dummy run. Oh, he couldn't quite get to the chalk. So they're about 8 metres away from the try line here, the Burleigh Bears. They'll go for a broke up the middle and just short of the line. The Currumbin Eagles now will have a set of 6 just on their own try line.
Yeah, good attacking set there by Burleigh. And in saying that, a great defensive set by Currumbin. So I think we've got a game on our hands today, my friend.
Absolutely. A lot of end-to-end action. And just I think there's a couple of penalties there from both teams that are sort of, that's just a bit of pre-match nerves. So this is so you can just see the Burleigh Bears, what they're looking to try and do now is just hold the team inside there, hold the Currumbin Eagles in 20, 30 metres away and not give away that line break to send the Currumbin Eagles at least down there the Burleigh Bears side of field.
Yeah, I just think that with Currumbin, they've got to win the tackle better. Burleigh getting, some good quick play the balls, and you just saw Brock Hughes before split them up through the middle. So a good kick chase definitely by Currumbin there. So
this is Latrell Howe. He takes that up 35 metres away from the Burleigh Bears line. So this is O'Shea Anaway. He's one of the players to watch for me. He's actually one of the few NRRL players that played last year. He plied his trade for the Morris Brothers Rams reserve grade team, which, so as we can see there, a penalty conceded by Currumbin Eagles. O'Shea Anaway, he was part of the Morris Brothers Rams team, which their reserve grade team only had their first loss in 2 years this year. They featured in the last 3 grand finals before that. So they went on, I don't know how many games, but it was something ridiculous, like I think it was somewhere in the 40s or 30s or 40s, and he was a part of that squad. So he's obviously now applying his craft now, trying to see where he can move forward in the pathways with the Burleigh Bears.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about, progressing.
So
good to see him.
So that's gone in the hands of Tyrese Walker. Good legs tackle there. I think that was Jack Lucas. And then just inside 30, Burleigh Bears, they play the short side. Kick across the carpet on the third phase. Oh, there was chases there, but it was well read off the kick there from the Currumbin Eagles. And they'll have this first on the first tackle here, just 10 metres out, about 5 inside field. So this will be now taken up here, about 15 metres away from the Currumbin Eagles. So the Burleigh Bears, they've conceded only 20 or less 5 times this year. Only one of their players used in their last game versus Currumbin has not scored this year that they've got out in the field at the moment. So they've got try scorers all across the park there, Aaron.
Oh, absolutely. And if I was to pick a try scorer today, I'd go for Joshy Walker. Like, he's been playing a lot of A-grade for Currumbin, and he's been outstanding on the wing. And he's got speed to burn, and he's a class player. I think I can see him, going into the NRL at some stage of his career. But like, he's just come back from I think it was a broken ankle or syndesmosis, so this is his first game in quite some time. So it'd be good to see how he goes. But like, he's the difference, I feel. So
that's Will Ramsey. He's just brought down there 45 metres away from the Burleigh Bears line. Really tit for tat action. If you just join us here, it's still 0-0. That's Liam Weatherly. He's brought down there 32 metres away from the Burleigh Bears line. So that's Caleb Cabby. He's brought that one up there just 25 metres away from the Burleigh line. So could this be the first points coming? So this is nice pass into I think that's gone into, I think that was Brock Stiles. So that's well read there from Latrell Howe. And he's going to have that one now 10 metres away from his own line. So Burleigh Bears, both teams have starting their sets to 6 really deep. So that was actually Jack Cullen there in number 22. And he'll be playing this one 25 metres away from the Burleigh Bears line. So it'll be interesting to see who can, I think for me here, Aaron, I think either team, to get the first points over, I think their set of 6 are going to have to start from the opposition's 20 for me. Absolutely. So, and you can just see the Currumbin Eagles, they're just holding well in defence thus far, well disciplined. So this will be now the 5th and last. Big kick here by Tyrese Walker. That's got some spiral to it. Oh, geez, what a big hit there from the Burleigh Bears. Referees deeming to be late, but the loyal supporters here, Deem it to be otherwise. We felt that one right up here, Aaron.
I certainly grimaced, that's for sure. Was he still up in the air when he got hit?
Oh, I think it
Or
was
did he
more.
actually
I think it was for a late hit. I don't know.
No, he said it was high. He
I-
signalled high.
Mm.
But I was just thinking, was he still up in the air? 'Cause
To-
it was- yeah.
Just for the viewers at home, though, where we are and where that hit was, that's probably about another 40 metres and about another 40 in. So we didn't get exactly the best view about it. Of course, you guys at Bar, watching on Bar TV would have the best seats in the house, so we must iterate. So as play resumes, so the Currumbin Eagles, they're just shy of the halfway line, about 5 inside field.
Like you were talking about the 18s for the Burleigh side, like there's a few 18s come through for Currumbin, like you mentioned Jack Cullen previously, and we've
Yep.
got Cole Guy coming off the bench. I'd say he'd be getting inserted very shortly into the hooking role. And then you've got guys like young Jordan Aldridge that all played 18s.
Yeah.
And there was quite a few 18s that come up through. And that's the beauty of the development at the Eagles, and it's the same here at Burleigh.
Oh, so that was well taken off the kick there, Latrell Howe, and he's going to go for a gulp now, gets it onto the Burleigh Bears 20. He's got some real estate on the left side, but he brings that back inside field, but Josh Somerville just knocked that one forward. He had two, I think there was a bit of friendly fire there, Aaron. There was two players wanting it, but neither of them got their hands onto it.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of miscommunication there,
Jeez.
but some great work there by Latrell Howe.
Latrell Howe, yeah.
Great work.
I think he probably could have gone a bit more further himself, Latrell Howe. He only had a couple of plays here. He could have just maybe brought it in and across the face of goal and bring it inside. But, you don't blame him for trying when you had two, not one but two. But the problem is they'll kind of join together.
The only downside of that, it was tackle number one, That's, as a coach, that's a killer. So now Currumbin have got the ball.
So the Currumbin Eagles, would they be looking to make them pay about 45 metres away from the Burleigh Bears line? So they'll bring that into the hands. That's Dan Thomas. And he's brought down there about 35 metres away from the Burleigh Bears line. So they'll bring this into centre of field. I think that's Ben Kebby there, just 30 metres away from the Burleigh Bears line.
That's Jakey Lucas.
Sorry, yep, Jakey Lucas. So that's Gibson. And he's brought down there 25 metres away. So that
Cole Guys
Cole Guy
is on.
So this is now fifth and last. Could this be the opportunity now for the Currumbin Eagles to get first points on grand final day? They'll get it through as many hands they can on that left side. But I think for me there, Aaron, it could have been a little bit more faster. They'd run onto the ball a bit more quicker, and they probably would have got something out of that. But they were just kind of a bit stationary for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Just sort of juggling with the ball, not catching the ball out in front, and then you can sort of crisp pass to the next guy, but a bit of a juggle there, and sort of those split seconds, that's the difference, and allowed Burleigh to get up and make the tackle. But it would have been nice just to put a little, even if it was the centre, like a little bit of a kick in behind, and maybe put a bit of pressure on Burleigh and maybe got it back-to-back, but now Burleigh are bringing it out of their red zone. So we need a good defensive set, force the error, and then we're back on attack again.
So I was just having a look here in my notes. So throughout the course of the season, so out of five losses, 4 of those were within 6 points. So you did have some close games throughout the course of the season, whilst getting the minor premiership though. So some of those close ones, I think the only other one was only by 8. So it's not like your guys out got blown out at any point of the year either. So which is normally you have one big loss throughout the year or two. Or if in the Brisbane Broncos case, that 58-0 flogging, I know all about that too well. But so you've always been in the match for every game this year, and in this 21, 22 rounds of football.
Yeah, absolutely. Just those sort of mind games, especially with winning the minor premiership early on. It's hard to get yourself up every week. And you've won the minor premiership, but I suppose at the end of the day, it's about being consistent and. The other teams are there to knock you off. It's a bit like the Melbourne Storm, how consistent they are, and they've got to come every week because the other teams want to knock them off their perch. And I think that was exactly the same with this Currumbin side. And if they weren't, just partially on their game, well, they got beat, low score, but they still got beat. So, but you learn from your losses, and they got better at the back end.
And with that, occupying the minor premiership for this year. So this has gone on the short side for the Eagles. Big cutout pass. That's gone in the hands of Lachlan Dalloway, and he's just short of the line here. They're getting ever so close to the Currumbin Eagles. So this is played from dummy half. That's gone into the hands of Rosenthal. And they're just going to compensate there. About 10 metres what they like there, the Currumbin Eagles. Lachlan Dalloway had eyes for the try line, but Burleigh Bears defence is just holding all that well. So a little dummy play there. That's just hold there 10 metres out from the Burleigh Bears line. So they'll go from dummy half here, the Currumbin Eagles. Nice blindside tackle there. I think that was Ramon Whippy. Sorry, that was Chase Lang, excuse me. So this is the fifth and last. This is ever so close to the line, the Currumbin Eagles, but the referee, what's he going to call here? He's called that 6 more. So could this now be the chance now? So I think he's only going to get off the first time asking the Currumbin Eagles. He had a whole set of 6 in his skyrocket, but in the first time of asking, the Currumbin Eagles now make it 4-0.
And that come down to the pressure on the kicker. Got the ball back, and that's what I'm saying, building that pressure.
So Dan Thomas, both teams have had their chances in the first quarter of this one, and that's now his 7th try for the campaign. How's he like in training, Dan Thomas?
Yeah, they're all a good bunch of kids, to be honest. I shouldn't really say kids because they're men now, but no, they're all a good bunch of boys. I help out with the strapping of the seniors, and and that's what Matty's all about. Having good kids and people with the right attitude. You could have one of the best players with a shit attitude, and you don't necessarily want those types of people. So Matty's sort of building a culture where we've got good people, we've got good kids. The parents are great, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I absolutely see where you're getting at there, and it's like I see it a lot in the NRRL. Like you have a team of superstars, but a lot of them it's like there's I'll get back to that in a second. You see, and the kick's just going to go over the face of goal. That's still making the score. Currumbin Eagles 4, Burleigh Bears 0 here at Pizzy Park and Ballina. Sorry, I was about to make mention the Ballina Seagulls. So we're at Burleigh. I made mention that's why the Ballina Seagulls win the NRRL competition just about every year, is because their players played from when they're juniors, and not only have those players come from juniors, their fathers were playing with each other back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and that's why they just seem to gel. I always say you can have a good team who have been with it from day dot, then have a team of superstars who you get from a little bit here, a little bit there, and then at the end of the day, you can have the best players in the world playing, but if they don't gel, then it's going to raise its head.
And it's so true, you've got to...
Oh, geez. So after getting the first points, it's going to hand this one back to the Burleigh Bears. I'll have a full set of 6, 10 metres away from the Currumbin Eagles line there.
Yeah, bad mistake, straight from scoring, and now Burleigh are hot on attack, so this could be the difference. If they can defend the set of 6, this could mean a lot.
So, Currumbin Eagles, they've done well in defence for the first 25 minutes of this one. This will probably be the Burleigh Bears' best chance of getting some points on the board with a full set of 6, 10 out from field. And I made mention about 5 minutes ago, Aaron, I said if Burleigh Bears were to score, they'd have to start a set of 6 inside the Currumbin Eagles 20. So they'll bring this one outfield after going through as many hands on that right side. They bring it, so I think that's Brock Hughes there, brings it to the centre of field, 10 metres away from the Currumbin Eagles line.
This has been Currumbin's downfall all year. Like they'll score a try, and then it's like a lapse of concentration, and they do a mistake like that, and let the other side back in, where instead of, again, completing that set of 6, getting the kick down the other end, now they're having to defend.
Sort of like reminds me of the Australian Boomers basketball team there, Aaron. They go out for big leads, and then, those last 2 games against Spain and France in the finals. But anyways, so we're about 8 metres away from the Burleigh Bears line. They're playing the short side. That's Tyrese Walker. He's just held there a couple of metres away from that Currumbin Eagles line. So this will be the 3rd go at it here for the Burleigh Bears. So they like that short side for me.
Yeah.
They're sort of relying on it, and sort of reminds me of the Tweed Coast Raiders A-grade team. They play that short right side a lot. So this is going to be Ned brings it back to centre field. Now they'll try the side on the left side. they're not really playing that left side for me, though, Aaron. That's a fifth and last. There was a whole big contingent on the left side, and he's decided to go for a kick up the middle. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I think the coach will be having a few words at half time. You know, they've got a great back line out here on the left-hand side.
Absolutely.
And they seem to keep going down that short side, you know, hoping
And then,
to get someone that's maybe fatigued on that short side that's having a bludge. But, yeah.
And you could just see there, like, you've got the likes of Josh Somerville there out as well, and he's one of the great attacking players, as well as the likes of Jock Sullivan. Now, I recall doing one of Josh Sullivan's games, because he started playing his football for Newcastle, down in the Newcastle region, and he was playing there for the Newcastle Knights Laurie Daly Cup squad from last year, and he's a big fella. And so to add injury to insult, the Burleigh Bears considered a penalty inside their own half of the field, and the Currumbin Eagles will see this one probably about 25-30 up from the Burleigh Bears line.
I just don't understand why they're not, you know, rolling maybe to the right and bringing it back to the left when you've got big guys out here like Ramon Whippy and the likes, you know, James Tuhacker, you know, big boys, big bodies to stop, and they're not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think the Burleigh coach will have a few words at half time. And
I recall watching one of the games when I covered up at Southport a couple of weeks ago. Do you think it's a confidence issue or something? Because I want to make reference to that is the game went into about 20 minutes of extra time, and I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was Runaway Bay. As we can see there, just knocking that one off. So the Burleigh Bears will have this one about 5 minutes away from their own line. I recall it was, I forget which team it was, but it was, I think it would have been Mudgeeraba Redbacks. They had perfect opportunities to get the field goal, to get the job done. They had about 3 or 4 chances, and then instead of going for the kick, they went for the try in extra time, and then gave Runaway Bay a 40-metre kick to get the job done. As we can see there, a penalty given, though, to the Burleigh Bears.
Yeah, not back 10. There's a little bit of fatigue creeping in there in the Eagles, not getting back behind the referee.
So he's kicking into that slightly stiff breeze. And they'll have this on their own 40 here, the Burleigh Bears. So that's play there from Brock Hughes. Big hard run there that's Chase Lang. And he'll have that on the halfway, about 10 inside field. So this is Brock Hughes. He gets that into the hands of, that was Jared Evans. And they're 45 metres away now from the Currumbin Eagles line. So this will be Hughes. That's gone. That's into the hands of Walker. And, So on their third go of asking there, Aaron, they've handed that one right back to the Currumbin Eagles.
Yeah, I think the halfbacks for Burleigh have got to stand up and actually take some control and tell the forwards where to go. And there just doesn't seem to be anything out there. They seem to be going down that short side, as you said, a lot. And
So
I think they've just got to take control, get the forwards going to where the coach wants them to go. And
that was a little bit around the head there. But he'll play this one 30 metres away from the Bears line. And great tackle there. I think that's Tuhaka there in the tackle, driving him back. And they'll have this one 20 metres away from the Bears line. So this will be played from dummy half. That's Brock Stiles. Brings it to centre of field. 20 metres away from the Bears line. So that's gone. That's Ramsey. He'll go for a run. He's going to be held there. So they're just gradually getting up just that ever bit further. So can they double their lead here, the Eagles? This is Gibson from dummy half. That's gone into, I think that's Norfolk. And he brings that centre of field. So they're not on this occasion now for the Eagles, but they're just... The opportunities are coming, though.
It's actually quite frustrating. Like, just felt the kick there was just a nothing kick. You know, there was no pressure built. No cross kick to the wingers who could, compete for the, it just seemed to be a nothing kick there. So I think Matty will be saying something at halftime as well. Like, the halves need to get in there and control it. Put a little grubber kick in behind, maybe get it back-to-back, get a repeat set. But it sort of went to Cole Geyer, and he sort of didn't really know what. There was no half sort of dominating that they wanted the ball. And, I just thought that was a nothing kick, really. Didn't build any pressure at all.
So for the Burleigh Bears, in their last time they played a fortnight ago, only one player from last week has played less than 13 games. Only one player that used from the last game has played less than 13 games throughout the year. So they've got the experience that they need on the field too. So And no doubt that Currumbin Eagles, that's the case for them as well. So you're getting the best of both teams here.
Oh, absolutely. Both clubs have got outstanding players, and the depth at Burleigh is amazing. A lot of clubs would love to have the depth that Burleigh have. And, I don't think Burleigh have ever, had or put out a bad side in any grade, So, and same with Currumbin. I think, both clubs here today, it's outstanding to watch.
Because I can see on my notes here in Currumbin Eagles' case, I think it's 6 players that were used in last week's game against Runaway Bay. They've only played less than 14, so in a 22-round season. So the numbers are there for both teams, and they're not really going to be go wondering on the personnel stakes.
And I think partway through, I think both sides did have a few injuries, and that's when the 18s had to come up and help them out. And certainly great for the 18s to get that experience to see what the 20s comp is all about.
So this will be now play from the Bears, 30 metres away from their own lines. That's a good run there from O'Shea Hanaway. And he'll play this 40 metres away from the Bears line. They'll play on that left side. They're starting to play that left side now, but I think they really need to do that on their 4th and 5th phase for me there, Aaron. They're playing it once again. So they're playing short side this time on the left. I thought that was okay for me there.
Yeah, just a knock on. Wasn't a forward pass. He did signal
a
a forward pass.
But I thought that pass was okay for me, though, Aaron.
Yeah, I thought it was okay, but then he knocked it on anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So that's just the wrong signal by the referee.
Yeah, so Tim Crisp there was going to pick it up and go see what he can do. But there's a player there for the Bears down. I can't make out the number. Number 14, that's Jared Evans. Jaron Evans. I think he's copped a bit of a knock on the side there, lower back. I know how those lower back painful lower backs are. I had to go see my mate who was an osteo last week. So for those pinched nerves aren't fun there, Aaron.
I'm quite lucky I haven't got a bad back at the moment. But yeah, just same with the NRL. Just when the halves, like you got your Cooper Cronks and your Luke Keary's going to the line, and they just get that little bit of a hit.
Yep.
And that whiplash.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been what happened there.
Yep.
To Jaron Evans.
He's up now. That's good to see.
He's gone down the short side, and he's put the 13 away, and just copped the tackle sort of late. So you relax in the tackle, and then you cop that little whack, and then sort of a little bit of a whiplash. Not the nicest thing to get, that's for sure.
Well, he's back on his feet, which is good to see. He'll fall into position and he'll feed this scrum. 40 metres away now from the Eagles line with about 25 seconds left here. Oh, sorry, that's a Currumbin Eagles scrum. So they'll be looking for one big play. They'll probably get about maybe another 1-2 at most plays after this one, but they're not even going to get that. So I don't think we'll have time for even to have the scrum. So we dwindled down here in the first half. That's gone really quick. That was the quickest 35 minutes I've been in this year.
I wasn't too sure if that was forward, but maybe the wind with it behind him. They're just going to have to watch that. Be a little bit different in the second half when you're going into the wind. The passes seem to stick a lot better. Absolutely.
So there's literally 1 second left. And they're not even going to have time to feed the scrum. So, well, your prediction is right thus far, Aaron. You said a close game, and you can't get them any much closer than, say, 4-0.
Yeah, no, through the year, like both teams have scored large points. And as I say, when it comes to grand final's a different kettle of fish.
Absolutely.
Altogether. And, it's all about building pressure. And sort of these two teams, when they've come up against each other, it's always a good battle. So I knew it was going to be a tight contest, and it's just going to come down to the wire. And the team that completes better in the second half, I think, could end up winning this game.
So trust you enjoyed the coverage here on Bar TV. It's grand final day for the Rugby League Gold Coast competition. Of course, we've still got another half of under-20s action to go. Plus, we've got Doug Lick Cup and, of course, the A-grade grand final between the Burleigh Bears and the Southport Tigers to come. So it's up at a tough time here at Pizzy Park in the under-20s grand final. It's Currumbin Eagles 4, Burleigh Bears 0. Myself and Aaron will be back in about 10 minutes' time for the second half of action. Dwayne Neville back with Aaron Whittaker here at Pizzy Park on Gold Coast Rugby League Grand Final day here. As you can see, it is Currumbin Eagles 4, Burleigh Bears 0. Just the sole try in this one, courtesy of Dan Thomas for Currumbin. I'll be joined back, Naren, in the next little bit or two, but as you can probably see there, the Burleigh Bears, for me, that, as I made mention during the first half, playing a lot of short side play, both on the left and right sides. They'll be looking to try and adapt and absolutely make the most of playing both sides of the field. They've got big attacking personnel on both sides, whilst the Currumbin Eagles, their defences, as you can see, keeping Burleigh Bears to 0. They'll be looking to keep up the great work in defence that they've done for the first 35 minutes. So the Currumbin Eagles come back onto the field with their in high spirits, having an ever so slight lead over the Burleigh Bears at the present moment. Burleigh Bears, as I made mention at the top of the broadcast, finishing in third with a 10-10 record. You don't really see many teams with even pegging in the win-loss column feature on Grand Final day. Though in the first 5 rounds, they only had the 1 win and 4 loss. And they had 4 losses out of the first 5 rounds. So they've obviously found form at the right time. The Burleigh Bears, they've only had one play, as I made mention, O'Shea Hanaway. He's the only player that's played for the Bears in all games this year. So the Eagles are running right to left on your screens. We get underway for the second half of action. And that just bounced off to Harko. You could just see there. That's Liam Weatherly looking for extra work in the tackle. So great tackle there from Bryce Kennedy. And they're about 30 metres away from the Burleigh Bears line on the second phase. That's gone in the hands of Latrell Howe. And the Bears will see this one just on the 40-metre line on the third phase. So they'll play this now on the right side of field. Nice little pass just from the behind. And so this will be played here from Brock Hughes. That's on into the hands of O'Leary. And they just now find the Currumbin Eagles half a field. And they'll have this 40 metres out. So this is the fifth and last for the Bears. They'll send this one downtown. Nice big high spiralling kick. And that's going to be, well read there for, I think that's Josh Walker. And they'll have this one 20 metres away from the Currumbin Eagles line. So he goes for a gallop and he'll find this one on the 30-metre line. Great tackle there from, I think that was Jock Sullivan, as I made mention. Started playing, as I made mention, he's played for the Newcastle Knights development squad and he's part of the SG ball system down there. And he's found his way up over the border to Burleigh. So this will be now played. This is Brock Stiles. That's Dan Thomas playing on the left side of field. And he's not going down without a fight. And he'll be brought down there 20 metres away from the Currumbin Eagles line. So this will be played from Geyer. They've got the short side looking for the line break. And just ever so short to the line there, 5 metres away from the Burleigh Bears line. They could, despite it only been one try in the game, Bears do not want to concede back-to-back tries. So this is play from dummy half on the fifth and last. There's a bit of an overlap here for the Eagles, but well read on both on the left side and right side of defence there for the Burleigh Bears. And they'll have a restart, I should say, about 5 metres away from their own line, the Burleigh Bears. So the Currumbin Eagles, just to highlight a few of their stats coming into this one, they've scored 40 or more on 6 occasions this year. They're going to have to do well to get anywhere close to that feat today. As I maybe mentioned, point a minute stuff. They're going to get to 40 today. And you got to look at their top try scorer in Lachlan Dulloway with 21 tries. So their two top try scorers, and as I may mention, Lachlan Dulloway being one of them, I think one of the Kebby boys has chalked up 19 in second spot, but no other players managed to score more than 9 this year other than those two players. As we're now joined by Aaron as he's trying to get the headset back on. What was said in the sheds at half-time there, Aaron?
Yeah, Matty was quite pleased in patches of the game. He just said that we needed to build a lot more pressure, a little bit more effort from a few players. It's just that little efforts, the effort on effort, making one tackle, making two tackles, helping out your teammates. So he just sort of mentioned that, and let's get to our kick, put pressure on them, hopefully make the mistake and capitalise on it. So they've good start at the moment, good couple of completions here. So. And
how's the nerves from as far as a Currumbin perspective goes?
The nerves, look, boys weren't too bad, to be fair. They know they've got a job to do, and similar to Burleigh. So, but here we are, have a mistake early.
So now the Burleigh Bears, they'll have a scrum feed just inside their own 40, about 10 inside field. The Burleigh Bears, as I made mention just as you're coming up here into the comm box here, Aaron, that even despite the fact it's only 4-0, I don't think the Bears can really afford to concede another one. They're going to have to do well to get over the other end, let alone to pick back a 2-try lead, nevertheless.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if Currumbin can score next, it's a big, I wouldn't say a huge scoreline to come back.
No, absolutely.
But just mentally, it just... Well, could there have been a penalty there?
That was O'Shea Hanaway. I don't know if you could see that on your screens tonight, but O'Shea Hanaway, you could just see the frustration on the face of the Burleigh Bears. It's starting to just show a little bit there, and I mean, you could just a big long pass. The referee's deemed it to be okay, and he's going to be brought down there 10 metres away from the Currumbin Eagles line.
Mate, that was that far forward. It was in the next race.
Okay, so he's just going to be held there. Second phase of play. They're going that dummy run. It's just, they're bashing on the door, but there's a big contingent of right side players here for the Bears, and they're just not using them.
I'm sorry, but that just frustrates me as a former player. Mate, that pass was that far forward. The touchies stood their ground, but the referee let it go, and it was like that Melbourne game the other week where Vunivalu went up and he wasn't even out. I don't understand why they can't come back to the mark and go, he wasn't out, it's not a scrum, it's a play of the ball, Melbourne's ball.
Well, you could probably at least let the play through, and then the referee can then make a decision. But then again,
as a former referee myself, I just don't understand why they can't go back. He wasn't out. The scrum, don't worry about the scrum. Go back, it's tackle one, there's still 40 seconds to go. Melbourne might have had an opportunity to score the winning try. Obviously they didn't, but it was through an error from the touch judge, and it was like, well, go back, tackle one, play on from there. I don't understand why they can't do that.
And I suppose you can, that begs the questions of do they bring in captain's pick or something like that? It seems to work well in the cricket and tennis, and to have the option to go back and have a look at it.
They don't need to have a captain's pick. They can see from upstairs when the bunker's gone and had a look at it. He wasn't out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So come back. It's still tackle one. Go with the right decision. It's just so frustrating as a former referee and as a big fan of rugby league, and
absolutely.
A former player.
And look, we could debate this until the wee hours into the next season, but
true.
Okay, we'll focus back onto this one. So
but it's the winning and losing of a game.
Absolutely.
And as a player, you
absolutely.
train your butt off all year.
Yeah,
and a simple mistake like that forward pass over there, they could have scored down here.
Absolutely.
That's the difference of winning and losing of a game, and it's so frustrating because as a player, as a coach, as management, you put your efforts all year for one decision to change the game. It shouldn't happen. So this will be now Brock Hughes to play first phase of play, 45 out from the Currumbin line. Nice little inside pass. That's Tusa. Brings that up to 35 metres away from the Eagles line. So they'll play this on the right side. That's got O'Leary. That's gone in the hands of Jock Sullivan. And he gets some extra metres there, just shy of 20 from the Eagles line.
That's gone into the hands of Walker, brings it back into the hands of O'Leary. And they're going to be brought down 10 metres away. This will be the fourth phase of play. This is Hughes. Goes up, brings it centre field. Big barraging run there from that's... Can't quite make out who that is, but he's just short of the line. So there'll be Hughes. Eagles are ready in defence. That's going to be played there by O'Leary. And he's just going to hand that one right back to the Currumbin Eagles. And they'll have it about 5 metres away from their own line. So the Currumbin Eagles, the Burleigh Bears, they're starting to show a little bit more urgency in defence. Keeping the Eagles there just inside their own 20 on the third phase. This will be played there on, they've gone the short side. I think that's Burt. He does a little hit and spin, brings that onto the short side. I think he's just going to be short of real estate. Manages to pass it back into Ben Kebby. And he brings it back inside field, brings some more yardage back for the Currumbin Eagles. So this will be now Josh Walker to play from dummy half. That's gone into the hands of Cullen. He brings it just shy of 20. And this is the fifth and last. The Currumbin Eagles are now clicking into third gear. That's gone in. Gets in through the hands. There's a big right side play. They go the cutout pass. If they can get into the route. Oh, jeez. Aaron, I was just about to say, if he gets his hands on that, he had another play on his right side there. You'd think you can almost bank on him being the favourite to get in that corner, but you can chalk that up. If this becomes a decisive factor in the game, you can just chalk that down to the 10th minute in the second half, because I think he should have been in for all money.
I think he'd scored it before he even got it into his hands.
So I think that's now one apiece for both teams. I mean, Burleigh had something similar to that in the first half. So,
and again, they're the opportunities you need to take. Try gone big in there. That could be 8-0, maybe 10-0. But
and when we're approaching the last 20 minutes, so on the first phase, so the Burleigh Bears, they'll gift wrap this one back to the Currumbin Eagles, 20 metres away from the Bears line.
And once again, Bodie Burt, excellent defence throughout the year. Like, his work rate has been phenomenal. We did a video session a couple of weeks ago, and his work rate was outstanding. So, like, he's just come up with, a tackle there that's forced the error, and now they're back on attack. So, once again, now we need to take the opportunity and make the most of this error.
So as the scrum goes down 20 metres away from the Bears line, they go the short side. That's going into the hands of Ramsey. He goes for a gallop, and he's brought down there just 5 metres inside home field. So this is Kebby. And he's going to be brought down there by Tyrese Walker. And so that's Josh Walker from dummy half. Passes it back inside field. They're liking this left side of the Currumbin Eagles. Bats that one back into Ben Kebby. He's brought down there 10 metres away from the Bears line. So this is, I think, is that Brock Styles? Or?
Yeah, Brock Styles. Yep. Big heart. He's got a massive heart. He's like Farlap.
What a pick up there from the Coogin Hornets at the start of the season. So they'll try this again. Oh, geez. Now this time they've just handed that one right back to the Burleigh Bears, but I think the referee might have even deemed a knock on against the Bears.
Yep.
So they'll have another set of 6 coming the Eagles 10 metres out, so maybe this will be the third time a charm.
Yeah, they've just got to execute better. I just feel they're not executing the plays. Very lucky there that Burleigh knocked it on and we get another opportunity for an attacking set. So now this is the third opportunity, so the boys have got to make the most of it.
So the the Eagles, will this be third time lucky after as many times of asking inside the Bears 10? So that's gone into Weatherly. Oh, and he's just almost blindside. He'll go over the sticks. He didn't. He only needed one go at asking, and he's going to double this lead with a kick to come at 8-0. Liam Weatherly. So you just had that feel, Aaron, that this was going to be, they were banging on that door for the last, as I said, three times, and that certainly was third time a charm, and they only needed the first go at asking off the back of the scrum to get it done.
And you can see just with James Tuhaka there, just the look of disbelief with the missed tackle, and, you feel for the young fella. But the pressure was being built, and that's what I said, they've got to make the most of it, execution, and with Liam there coming in, from the back line, from the scrum and scoring under the posts.
And he knows those posts too well, Liam, whether he's actually a Burleigh Bears junior. And so after 15 games, that's his third try for this year. And that would probably be the sweeter of the three. And he'll send this one.
Did you know how to hurt a bloke, don't you? Burleigh Bears junior, did you say?
Yeah. Well, as he knows his turf too well, so he probably would have done that in training back when he was here. So, well, as I said, if you're if you're playing at your ex ground, it's like, well, I can use many analogies, but as the kick goes over, that's now making the score 10-0. I can use many analogies, Aaron, but more or less, if you know your own backyard, you know the place, you know where all the divots are, you know where.
Absolutely.
So,
well, I'm glad he come over to the Currumbin Eagles, that's for sure.
And what a pick-up he's been. So that
Absolutely.
now. So as we're approaching the final 20 minutes in the opening game on Grand Final Day in the Rugby League Gold Coast, you're watching this on Bar TV. It's an absolute pleasure being on the call I'll be on the call for the next game as well, the Doug Lick Cup, and then Scotty McAllister, he will be taking the reins for the big one between the Burleigh Bears and Southport Tigers. Southport, what a game that's going to be. Southport they've campaign, whilst they finished second, their campaign was on life support. They lost a few of their prelim games going into it. They lost that game against
they lost
your guys, and then
12.
And then I was covering their game a couple of weeks ago against Tugan, and they looked like they were getting bashed and battered in the first 10-15 minutes against Tugan. Then they all of a sudden they found the blueprint like in the last 20 minutes, and they absolutely rolled Tugan. And then could it be one of those Cinderella stories? Yeah,
well, Southport have won a few premierships back in the day, so they're a very good side, and as we know, with grand final, anything can happen. So
absolutely,
Burleigh have certainly had their measure in the games that they played against Southport, and in big scores as well. But I know with two at the helm there for Southport, and guys like Drummy Dryberg, the class act of Drummy, anything could happen sort of like 10, 20 metres out with his sidestep. So, but Burleigh have certainly been the benchmark of the A grade this year, and well deserved their number one spot, that's for sure. And
absolutely.
Obviously 1 and 2 are playing against each other. Would have nice to have the Currumbin Eagles there, who finished third, but great game last week. Unfortunately, they went down 16 points to 12 to Southport, but it was a great game. Yeah,
I watched a few of the highlights of that game. I can't say I watched the whole game, but I did see the highlights on the Bar TV YouTube, and it was really tit for tat there for a while.
Yeah, especially with going in at half time, 10-4, quietly confident, but you can never underestimate Southport. I think they scored with a few minutes to go. So that's
Jock Sullivan there. He's going to be marched back down on his 30-metre line. So we're just inside the final 20 minutes in the second half in the under-20s grand final. This is now going to be Burleigh Bears really now got to get back to work at 10 points down. You think you can almost say if Currumbin get another one, then you're looking at point a minute stuff, and Burleigh Bears, they'll have some of their loyal supporters here coming here early with their A graders, as I mentioned, following in a couple of games' time. So this is going to be taken up there. That's Walker, and he's just short. That's well picked up there from Sullivan, but he's run out of chance. They've run out of chances there. The Burleigh Bears. They're going to have the restart about 7 or 8 metres away from the Eagles' line.
See, once again, I just feel like with the halves there, was that Tyrone O'Leary? No, that was Therese Walker.
Yep.
Last tackle, you've got to be aware of, what the tackle count is.
Absolutely.
Maybe a little grubber kick into the end goal, building that pressure, getting back-to-back, fatiguing the Eagles. They've only had a 6-day turnaround, just little things like that.
Yeah. So the Eagles have this one 30 metres away. Potential line break, and he's just going to be brought down there by Ramon Whippy. And just inside, just on the halfway now, it's Jock Sullivan. He's been called there for offside. He's probably one of the more disciplined players, but on this occasion he's been caught out. And so the Currumbin Eagles, they now find themselves in a perfect position to take this title.
Like, there was a great hit up by Josh Walker then. It was, like being in the forward pack, and that's the beauty of your outside backs, like taking your hit-ups for your forwards and relieving that pressure, and that's what you need,
So this
especially in these, like the big GFs.
So Ben Cabby, that gets in the hands of Bryant, and he's brought down there 20 metres away from the Bears line. So this is going to be played from Geyer. Oh, nice split. Oh, nice legs tackle, but he managed to get the offload. Oh, it only took the long reach. Oh, it was called forward anyway, but I was just going to say it took the long reach of long Coco Gadget arms to try and pry that away. Otherwise,
Chase Lang, yeah.
But nevertheless, it was caught offside regardless.
Yeah, forward pass. That's what I mean. They should have just taken the tackle and gone with the next play. They still had a few tackles up their sleeve, so just a little bit of inexperience there. You don't need to push the pass, and they at this age, they've got to learn that, they don't have to score off every play. Like, just take the tackle, and then maybe something might happen after the next couple of tackles.
So the Bears now, they really need to start getting to work now and find something. Then they're going to have to find a blueprint now, and they've got about 16 minutes and change to get it done. So they're staring it down of a grand final defeat.
I think this is where one of the halves or even a hooker might have to step up, maybe look for a 40-20 with a bit of a breeze behind them.
It's almost like their set of six through their hands is now longer not working. And I mean, to their credit, now they're starting to play through from left to right, north to south a bit more. But I just think the Eagles' defence has just been so on point today.
And you can just see there, like, you've got Therese Walker, the halfback, taking a hit up. That's where the forwards should be. So,
and they're going to see this set of six start from their own 30, now 40-metre line, the Currumbin Eagles. So just that kick just did not have it. It's just those little things, Aaron, for me. That's not really working for him. So that's Weatherly. He's got the line break. He managed to get the offload, but it's gone into the hands of Ben Cabby. He'll bring this back centre of field. And he's going to be held there about just 25 metres away from the Bears line.
Once again, Josh Walker coming in looking for a bit of work. That's twice he's done that and made great metres.
So the Burleigh Bears are not really moving back to their intent as quick as they like either. They're sort of casually moving back into line. So the Eagles, that's just that the flanks are just that option into the back lines. It's just letting them down.
Deacon Gibson with the drop again. It's twice. First time he had their line open, and then second, just can't afford that, unfortunately. He's just got to keep his head up. He's got to move on. He's got to, and that's what happens. Like young kids, they'll learn, I suppose.
Yeah.
Over the years with experience, you make a mistake. We're all human, but you've got to learn to just let that go. Get on with what I call get on with the now. Get on with what's happening. That's behind you. So you've got to try and make up for that.
And I suppose it doesn't matter really what happened in the last 55. It's how you play the next 14 minutes and change.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, they're still in front, 10-0. So, as you said, dust yourself off, get back up and play the next 14.
He's obviously still got that drop and the line wide open still in the back of his mind. But let's hopefully he can clear that. And now Burleigh are on attack. Oh,
geez, he's just shanked that kick too. The Burleigh Bears, they'll have this one. They've only managed to gain an extra 10 metres.
They certainly need to do something with this set of six, that's for sure.
Yeah, so as we approach 13 minutes and change left here in the opening grand final here on Rugby League Gold Coast grand final day here at Pizzey Park in Burleigh. Burleigh, they'll need to get some of their... I think they even need a bit of an 18th man support from their loyal supporters in the crowds here. So this is going to be Brock Hughes. He'll play this one.
They definitely need to score next, that's for
Absolutely.
sure. Absolutely.
42 metres.
Sniff, that's for sure.
So this is O'Leary. They're playing up that centre of field, which has sort of favoured them all game. They need to really find something the blueprint here to get it done. They're playing that short side once again. Hasn't worked for them in the last 55, 60 minutes. So this is going to go into Tuhaka. He brings that. So they're getting the metres though, Aaron, but it's just that last 4 or 5. Then, geez. And it's getting to the point where they're not even finishing their set of sixes either. It's just those little things for the Bears. They're not getting it managed. Because, I mean, you can't say they haven't had their chances.
No, definitely not. I feel sorry for James Tuhaka there. Like, he's obviously missed a tackle there on Liam Weatherly earlier on. Two hit-ups there in that set of six. unfortunately, just a little bit of a fumble at the play of the ball there. But you can see he's certainly trying and making up for
Absolutely.
this missed tackle. But
so this will be now the Currumbin Eagles 10 metres away from their own line.
and this is where Burleigh need to have a massive set of 6 defensively, put pressure on them, good line speed, force the error.
Yeah. And for me, the Currumbin Eagles, though, where they're getting up the other end of the field, they've just managed to get those line breaks, while the Burleigh Bears, I don't know if they've made a line break all game.
Yeah, true.
And if they did, it was probably early in the piece. So, nevertheless, this is going to be taken here about 25 metres away from the Eagles' line. And they'll bring this into centre of field. He'll be met there in Jock Sullivan. He's been so impressive defence today, Jock Sullivan. And they'll play this on the short side. Oh, he thought about it, and then he's just probably fired that pass probably half a second later than what he liked. And they're at 6s and 7s at defence here, the Burleigh Bears. But they're going to be taking this one 5 inside field, 40 out, 5th and last. This be Rosenthal, plays it from dummy half. And, there was a kick there from Josh Walker, and it's going to be collected there from the Bears. Smack bang on the halfway line.
Probably the wrong option of a kick there. It needed to be deep down in the Burleigh red zone there. Pretty much that's just put Burleigh back on attack, over the halfway line. That could be the difference.
Well, as we're saying now, 10-0, we're about 11 minutes left. Currumbin have been by far the better team, but as I made mention, it's not how you play the 2/3 of the game, it's the last quarter. And Burleigh, 10 points is not by any stretch a safe lead in any code.
Absolutely not.
So this is going to be Jock Sullivan brings that inside field, and he's going to be brought down there 22 metres away from the Eagles line. This is the 5th and last. This will be Hanaway. That's gone in the hands of O'Leary. He'll kick that across the carpet. Well read off the kick there from the Eagles. They'll go for a gallop, and he'll be held there 10 metres away from the Eagles line, just on centre of field.
But again, was that the right option of the kick? I don't know.
Yeah, so it just gives the Eagles, they're just looking they're looking a bit more keen in attack as well, Aaron. They're just running with it. They're running with it with passion and urgency. And Burleigh, they're just look where the referee is and look where they're moving up. They're not really moving up into their defensive line quick enough for me.
Yeah, maybe sometimes that week off doesn't help.
No, well, that's always been a debate. Covering the NRRL finals with me and my colleagues who I was working with throughout there, we've basically debated that in every game we did. It's like, do you have the week off or do you go and have a grit? In which case, well, Ballina, they played about 2 games in a month, and they did a job on Moolumbar, who had played about 4 games in the finals. So, but then again, you look at it from either way. So,
absolutely.
So, still a little bit tit for tat. Burleigh, in principle, still in this game, but they really need to find something. They've just been eluded in the last 60-odd minutes. Could this be something? They've got the line break. That's Latrell Howe. He gets around on the right side. He's a bit short on numbers, but he's going to go himself. And could this be the play to get Burleigh Bears back into this grand final? They're going to now be within a try as he brings that one into the centre of the goal line to make it 10-4, kick to come.
And I did think if anybody was going to do it for Burleigh, it was going to be Latrell Howe. He's been on attack on a number of occasions, and he's made line breaks, and he certainly did it this time and put Burleigh back into the game.
Latrell Howe, he knows how to score, and that's his 17 for the campaign. That includes a hat-trick against the Helensvale Hornets. He originally come from, I'm just looking at my notes here, and he originally played I think it was his junior footy down in the Cronulla region. So this year he's already played for the South East Queensland under-20s and the Gold Coast Vikings rep squad. So you could see there on the Bar TV screens, you'll see that in the highlight reels during the next week, why he's earned all those honours.
Absolutely. It's actually been exciting to watch. Early on he made a couple of breaks, and you could see that he was coming into the line, first receiver, and stepping up where the half should have been probably stepping up, and he's actually been exciting to watch, and
Jack Cullen,
that just showed it.
I can see Jack Cullen's about to come onto the field now, so I think they're now going to have to go into fourth gear now. Currumbin, they've been the better team for 60, 65 minutes, and now the Burleigh Bears will be within a try to potentially steal it. And rest assured, their 18th men over the other side of the field and in the grandstands here will be doing their best to help them steal that grand final. So they're 4 points now.
Well, there's 7 minutes to go.
It only takes
literally 60 seconds per set. So Burleigh are going to have 4 sets with the ball, and Currumbin are going to have 3. So it's going to be interesting to see.
And in all fairness, Aaron, I mean, this was Currumbin's to look. I mean, they're still they're going the short kickoff, which is very interesting. So what's the referee called here? He's called this knock on against Currumbin. So I'm trying to think, whilst you've got a 4-point lead, why they be going for the short kickoff? That's got me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they nearly got the ball back then, but the better option was to be further down in the Burleigh red zone. And
they've been defending well all game. It's only just taken a really magic line break from Latrell Howe to get this within 4 points to begin with. So as I speak, that was Latrell Howe making the offload. But Currumbin had just been defending all the way. Is this the case that now? I hope for Currumbin's sake that they just stick to what they've been doing. It's been working well for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a short kickoff is certainly a bit of a brain fade for me.
When you talk about moments in a game, like where Burleigh earlier on turned it over, like 3 repeat sets, and then Liam Weatherly scores under there.
Yeah.
And then same again with Josh Walker, which I felt that was the wrong kick with the short one. And then Burleigh end up scoring later on. So there's moments in the game that you've got to look at.
So Latrell Howe there kicks that one across the carpet. Should be well read defence there from the Currumbin Eagles. So the Eagles now with about 5 minutes and change. They can ill afford to give away a silly penalty or silly error. Burleigh Bears are just showing there. You can see that Jock Sullivan, he's showing a lot of urgency in defence.
Yeah, it's like Burleigh have got into a third gear now. With that try, they've had a bit of a sniff now. They can see they're only a try away from winning this game.
It's like if you use a boxing analogy, it's like being, let's put it this way, Currumbin Eagles won probably out of 12. Like if you're in the 10th round, they probably won about 8 of them, and then you're in the 11th round, and then Burleigh have just thrown that punch to just stun you and laying on the ropes, and then we're heading into the 12th round. It's now Currumbin can stay on their feet to get out a points decision, but Burleigh Bears, do they have another knockout blow in them? Is this going to be and that's the man there, Latrell Howe.
Certainly wouldn't be kicking to him, that's for sure.
No, definitely not. He's going to be held there on the first phase on the 25 out for the Burleigh line. They're just going to bash this one up the middle of the Burleigh Bears. They need to, for me, I think they need to, I think the Eagles, they should hold up in defence, but the Bears are just at one line break away from stealing this, and we're about 4 minutes and change left.
Yep. We've got a good finish on our hands, that's for sure.
And what a start to the day. We've got another 2 games to go.
This is what the GF's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So this brings it inside field. Oh, well read in defence there from the Eagles.
Yeah, another great tackle there from Brocky Stiles.
You can just hear every time there's a tackle made, you can hear the Eagles supporters here. I think there's somebody to our right-hand side just going up their decibels just that little bit more. They've defended well thus far. They've still got one more play to go here. They're 28 out. The Eagles' defensive line is held in. There's 2 players in back play getting ready for the kick on either side. It should be collected there by Ben Kebby, and he'll go for a run. He's been doing line breaks all day,
hold on to it.
And he's just managed to get it an extra 30 metres on the fly. So
we just need to hold on to it, boys.
They're just bringing it up centre field. That's Ramsey. He just brings it just smack bang on the halfway line.
Joshy Walker again.
So he'll go for it. He'll bring it on the left side. He's just met there by contingency of Bears support. Burleigh Bears defenders 40 metres out from the Bears line. They've only just Stephen now, still 1 try away from putting this to bed and taking the trophy down the M1.
Just a little kick into the corner.
So they'll go the short side. That's Bryant.
Build some pressure.
And he's now just about 20 metres away. 5th and last, so they might get one more go with this, the Eagles. They want to try and force it off the kick. They'll at least get some yardage out of it. And that's if they weren't going to get the try there, Aaron, that's what they needed. They've kept it Now the Burleigh Bears are going to have to go 95 metres on the fly with about another 4 phases to go.
Good set. Eagles need a good defensive set here.
No penalties, that's for sure. So the Bears, they know that it all potentially rests with about 2 minutes and change left. You can just hear the crowds from the supporters of both teams doing that, bringing up the decibels ever so highly. So they're favouring that centre even
last
more so.
tackle.
This is the 5th and last. The Eagles have so done well in defensive. They've done all game to keep the Bears inside their own half, but that's going to be a big kick there from O'Leary. This is going to have to be a good catch here from Weatherly, and he'll go for a gallop.
Watch
and
the
we're in the
one-on-ones.
So we're in the final 2 minutes now. So
watch the one-on-one strips.
and he's just held there from Joe to Asa. They're about 18 metres away from the Eagles line. This is going to be played there from
Just hold on to
Walker. And they're not really showing much urgency, the Eagles. They're kind of all bunched into the centre. They know they just want to hold on to it and then force the kick and make the Bears go with about maybe less than a minute with a set of 6 over their own the field. And I think for me,
2 in the tackle.
Burleigh Bears, I think that was their chance gone. Any chance now gone begging. And you'll see Currumbin will take the longest time possible to get a kick away.
He probably should have told old mate just to drop off, because it looked like he could see the one-on-one coming, but unfortunately there was 2 in the tackle.
And you can hear the chant, Eagles, Eagles, go up. And he's gone for the tap, so, which I find was pretty interesting.
Yeah, maybe he just didn't like, if you don't find touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially with that breeze kicking into that corner. Just a matter of holding the ball for 6 tackles. It's only 50 seconds to go.
So Brock Stiles plays it from dummy half. That's gone from Lucas. They'll play that short side. There's 2-on-1. And he manages to get it into the wing. He's going to bring it inside field. And big hard tackle into the turf. So with about 35 seconds left, Currumbin Eagles should see this one home. Should bring this trophy, the under-20s trophy, back down the M1.
That's back-to-back. I think you'll find that Eagles
Really?
won it last year, my friend. Yep.
Good stuff. So that's going to be now 15 seconds away. Can they get it? The cherry on top in the corner? Yes, they will. And that is the cherry on top for the Currumbin Eagles. And you can hear the loyal supporters and the coaching staff on the bench. That is now mission accomplished. Back-to-back, 14-6. They had a bit of a scare then when Latrell Hell went over to make a contest out of it, but they've held their nerve. They've been the better team all game. And the Currumbin Eagles, whilst it eluded them 2 weeks ago, this is the one that counts most for them, Aaron.
Absolutely. This is what they train hard for. I feel sorry for Burleigh because I know how much hard work they'll put in, and this is what the boys train Tuesdays and Thursdays and put all that hard effort, blood, sweat and tears, to play in the big dance, in the big grand final, and great accomplishment.
What a contest. What a way to start this first game of football out of 3 games here on Rugby League Gold Coast Action. And you're seeing it all here on Bar TV, here at the home of Gold Coast Rugby League at Pizzey Park.
And you've got to give credit where credit's due. Burleigh have been great throughout the year. They're here as well. So you've got to take your head off to Burleigh. Unfortunately, in grand finals, you can only be one winner. But,
absolutely. And you picked it. It was a. You'd say 14-6. No, very more. That's not like the 34 to 30 kind of scoreline, which you see most in the younger fellas today. But it just pays respect to. Burleigh didn't really defend bad either. We can see the kick. It's just going to fall short. You got to pay respect. Burleigh didn't actually defend that bad either.
Nah, definitely not. Definitely not.
And you can see that now that there'll be big celebrations now in the Currumbin Valley tonight for the under-20s. Who did you like in that game, Aaron? Who was your pick of the bunch?
For me, like in a beaten side, yeah, I'd definitely take my head off to Latrell Howe. He tried tirelessly all day. But for Currumbin Eagles, I'd have to. The back rowers, Bodie Burt was outstanding. Brocky Stiles, like their defence was amazing. But for me, I'd have to give it to Josh Walker. Just that experience of this year playing an A grade, and just some of those hit-ups that he took just alleviated a lot of pressure off of the big boys, and he made a lot of yards, and yeah, definitely. Oh, Will Ramsey, number 6. Yeah, Will J. Ramsey, number 6, was the man, I believe he's been named man of the match, so he did a good job as well. He was the link in between the halves to the outside backs, but for mine, I just thought Josh Walker's chiming into the defensive line was outstanding.
So as we now await the presentation now for the under-20s, which will be, once again, as Aaron mentioned, for a second year running to the Currumbin Eagles. Mate, absolute pleasure being on the call with you today.
Thanks very much, Dwayne. Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And as we now see the under-20s trophy will be handed to the Currumbin Eagles, as we await for that, coming up next will be the Dudley Cup between the Tugans, Seahawks and the Mudgeeraba Redbacks.
Great game, brother. Great game.
This kid did not drop a ball all game. You want to know why? It's because I've fed him all week. Let's go! I'm going
Rugby due for since 2012, baby.
Oh, mate, that's so horny.
Ready? Ready?
You know why I didn't drop a ball all week? It's because I've been feeding him. Breaky D's. Yeah, boys.
Firstly, congratulations to Currumbin for getting the 2 years in a row. You guys had another great year, so congratulations. To my boys, honestly, keep your heads up high. You've done so well to actually be here in the first place, and you gave Currumbin a good run for their money. So, well done, and I hope to see you all next year. Thank the supporters for being here. Thank the Gold Coast Rugby. Thank you. Number 1, Latrell. Jim Chris, number 2. Yes. Okay, Henry. Josh Somerville. Joe Cooper. Grace Walker. Moran. Hayes. Brocky. Jay. Renee. Josh. James. James. Tyler Green. Tyler Kent and Kathy.
This is